Netflix's newest film is an action thriller with a vicious twist. This film needs to be on your radar. When a group of terrorists hijacks an overnight flight, a mysteriously ill woman must unleash a monstrous secret to protect her young son. Welcome back, movie watchers. Thank you guys for stopping by my channel. Blood Red Sky is a new action thriller on Netflix. Before I get into my review, let me know what you thought about the film in the comment section down below. And what is your favorite film that takes place on a plane? In order for me to give a proper review for Blood Red Sky, I kind of have to give away the illness of this woman on this plane. We see it in the poster. It's part of the trailer. So if you don't want to know, I would suggest leaving the video. But you've been warned. A little bit of a spoiler. It's introduced really early on in the film, and it's essential to the overall plot. She's a vampire. This woman is on a plane with her son to New York City to try to find a cure. She's a vampire, and we kind of have this backstory of when she was younger and with her son when he was just born, and how she was attacked and turned into a vampire. And so that's why she's taken an overnight flight. But on the overnight flight is a group of terrorists. And so we got a terrorist story, and they happen to come along for the ride with a vampire. And so with it being taken place on a plane, very claustrophobic, intense action film with the vampire. And you would expect with the vampire, things may happen down the road that might turn other people into vampires. What we have in this film, which is over 2 hours long, is something pretty intense. I thought Blood Red Sky was a lot of fun. From beginning to end, I was glued to the screen. And the way that the film opened up, it opened up with the end part of the movie, but you're curious to what had happened on this plane. And then we see everything kind of work its way up to that. And watching this woman try to keep the secret of being a vampire to herself, the terrorists are making it very hard for her to maintain her normal self. And when it's exposed that she is a vampire, the people on the plane not only have to deal with the terrorist, they also have to deal with a vampire. And it's just two separate things that just happen to meet together on a plane. This wasn't planned at all. It's just a coincidence that these two threats happen to be on the same plane. But the woman's not a terrible vampire. She's not a evil vampire who's going to try to kill everybody on the plane. She's actually there to help out a lot of people. But the idea of having a vampire on the plane frightens a lot of people. So the overall tone of the film and the paranoia within the plane and everybody's afraid, the tone is very dark, and the film can get very violent at times. And watching the chaos just consume this film makes it really enjoyable, because the terrorists are trying to go through with their agenda while also trying to protect themselves against the vampire, and the vampire is trying to end everything happening with the terrorists. The film really spirals out of control. It just gets really wild towards the end of the film. And that's where we get to the moments that happened in the beginning of the film, where they see the plane land, and then we see kind of lead up to that. Watching all the chaos on the plane, it's crazy. It took two separate storylines, and I was worried how each one would work into the other. Would one kind of overrun the other one? It's got that really nice balance. The group of terrorists don't have like a big backstory. They're just there. They have kind of your average kind of agenda when it comes to people that want to hijack planes and movies. But on the other hand, you have this vampire, and at times they do have this little backstory for her with her husband and her son and how she turned into a vampire. At first, it felt a little bit unnecessary. Like, what's the point of all of this? We don't really need to know all of it. But once we do learn everything, things start to make a little more sense. Quite often the film does put a lot into the backstory for this woman, this mother. I think maybe a couple scenes would have been fine, and then have her travel to New York and just let it be that. But they did offer a lot of backstory throughout that a lot of times felt a little bit repetitive and a little unnecessary. The first couple scenes did feel necessary because it explained what had happened to her and how she did turn into a vampire. And then later on, it just kind of piled on top of that. I just didn't think it worked too much. But overall, Blood Red Sky is a really entertaining, thrilling film. It's vicious, and it takes a vampire and terrorists, put them on the plane, and see what happens. And who will come out on top is essentially what this movie is. I highly recommend checking it out. But before I give you my final score on this film, if you guys like to check out more movie content from me, like ranking videos, tier lists, reactions, reviews, all that stuff, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more up and coming content. And make sure to hit that subscribe button as well. So I'm going to go ahead and give Blood Red Sky a B+. Thank you guys for checking my review for Blood Red Sky. Make sure to check it out on Netflix when it does air. Stay tuned for more up and coming Netflix and streaming service content. My name is Just So Much As Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.